Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Alright, so this might be the last day Pacific Drive for me. Got quite a few hours in it right now. Probably already more than the average Joe. So I think I'm gonna probably start just heading for the story. I'm kind of over the grindy stuff and some of the repetition. It'd be cool to like check every area and see all the little anomalies and get all the upgrades, but the Olympium fragment grind seems fucked. Maybe there's an easier way to get those. Maybe if you have the magnetic thing, you just get a bunch. But yeah, I can't say I'm too interested. So, and I just think a lot of the general, just the feel and the repetition and the pace is it's kind of I run its course more or less for me. So I'm ready to get to the end. I'm sure it'll still be many hours. We'll see for sure though. Yeah, overall, I guess I'll talk as we go. Been having a good enough time with it. I don't think it's godly or anything. I don't think a lot of it's super duper compelling. I think it's pulling in too many different directions, and none of those are super super duper well executed. But there's a lot of things going on for it. It just depends. Sometimes it's the immersion of being in the car and the sound design. Sometimes it's, some of the more sim kind of elements, shit like that. Kind of just depends. The general ideas and uniqueness and all that is relatively strong, so that's cool. But, yeah, it's just kind of a lot of issues. We'll get into it later. I'm not gonna go too wild on talking about that right now. Got a few things to craft. Yeah, I was watching somebody who, I've been watching a little bit, a small bit of a playthrough, somebody doing areas I've already been to, but, yeah, they had a bug where their putty was infinite, and I thought that was really funny, man. I'm getting bugs where I'm going beneath the earth and getting, like, destroyed. Like an infinite putty bug. Let's top this off. Oh, my turbine's fucked. Won't be stopping for too much looting. For the most part, I'm feeling alright. Come to terms with how much loot I got and will be getting. It'd be cool to get some of this kind of stuff, but the Olympium requirements and stuff like plastic, it would be another day of playing to get this. And the Olympium stuff, I don't know. I mean, maybe I haven't properly done it yet, but it would be like over a day. Very long, very lengthy. Because those are all very deep in too, so Yeah, just not too interested there. Do one of these for fun. Get as many upgrades as I can, I guess. Corrosive bumper. Belching barnacle, man. We'll never found that. This one, even to get to the chrono stuff, I need Olympium fragment. Which sucks. I don't know what the remnant ghost is. It's something neat, or something that is like all the other ones. It just doesn't really. Coding overloaded. I should be restarting my computer. Been on for a while, but I really don't think that would be causing any big issue. Anywho, yeah. Got a big day at work tomorrow, so try to do a stream still. We'll see. I really want to throw another day in this if I'm getting tired of the grind. I've got other stuff we're sitting on, so I'm showing tomorrow's gonna be mostly work day. Don't expect it to be on time. Never be disappointed. What's up, Newtown? Yeah. I assume Gamefly won't send me mine for another 2 days or something. Free. It's free. Free for all. What's up, Cora? But yeah, since I'm sitting on Yakuza and Rebirth's coming, I have Helldivers now. It's like, I think we're just gonna rush to the end here. I'm not one to really like rush through a game because of something else. It's just kind of an extra on top of me kind of being done with this now. Like it's good, it's cool. I have a lot of problems with it, but it's got cool elements to it. But yeah, I think I've played it out. I think my playtime already is more than the average, so which is funny. And that's what I can tell from like Steam reviews and stuff, which I think is really funny considering I'm not even close to being able to get like all the endgame upgrades. Very oddly paced, balanced out list of upgrades. Oh, you did some bug fables? Cool, yeah. Nah, I've only been up for a little bit. I made myself wake up super early so that I could go to bed early tonight. We got a lot of work tomorrow. Physical stuff I don't want to be tired for. I missed everybody's streams. Yeah, if you got a lot of gift cards and they're not going anything in particular, you might as well. Yeah, I'm gonna probably be late on Unicorn Overlord. I might try to finish I might try to finish Yakuza before Final Fantasy comes in. But they're both going to be like 70 to 80 hour games. I think Shadows over Loathing and Unicorn Overlord I'm just going to have to delay. So. What game, Coro? People I think made a VR mod already for this. I could be wrong. If not, I guess they should. Zonked out. You can't stream Last Epoch or Unicorn Overlord. Just console games, I'm guessing. Oh, you're flushing it? Yeah, I can't say I'm too interested in it. We had some people talking about it in here, and it is interesting, but I've got other ARPGs already, like, on the list. I don't know if, in general, how people are feeling on it, so. That's video. I mean, you could always stream directly from the system. You just have to use their interface and everything if you really want to stream it. And they're also going to block a bunch of sections off if they're those kind of devs. But I mean, they do have onboard streaming. It's just shit. Oh, you're doing it on Switch? Oh, I don't know on Switch then. No, I don't think so. Nintendo. I didn't plan on doing any upgrading, but that's right here, man. Yeah, Nintendo and online. Well. I've heard of Legendary Tales before. Just a name. Not much about it though. Oh really? That's cool. Sounds like they've really been updating it. Did that one get some kind of success that they've kept up with it like that, or is this just kind of like a new beginning for the game? Oh, my car just went kaput. Yeah, I thought that was a funny thing too. I was like, man, Pokemon games feel like they don't even make use of the Nintendo hardware right now. Imagine how much of a joke they'll be on a Switch too. Because people still cope and say that, oh, Pokemon's only that bad because of the Switch hardware, totally ignoring all of the good first party and beyond games that make good use of the hardware. I guess it's not strong hardware, but it's cheap hardware. You can definitely do something with it. Like that Pokemon game looks and plays worse than like stuff many generations before it. It's like there's no cope, man, when you get to the next. I hope they have like those like joke, they're not even joke, those like shitty Unreal Engine like ultra HD texture packs that don't match at all. I hope the games look like that and everybody laughs. It's real wood, and they just take a picture of wood, and like it's just that's the texture. Charged, but I don't need these, but I do need enough to warp out. Although, where we're going has perpetual stability, so I'm probably gonna be fine. Better safe than sorry. Battery just got fucked. Swollen. Wait, do I have an extra? No. Well, we're just gonna have to deal with that. How that happened at the beginning of the journey. I don't know why I'm picking up these logs. They've been like pretty fucking shit. We're working on an update. Oh, that's cool though. I mean, I definitely prefer the Dark Souls style map over some kind of proc gen shit. I mean, proc gen could be good if all the systems work well with it. But sounds like the systems could be interchanged easy enough. It might just be kind of woven in.
Lou's account is one of the most damning and holds up to the best of my verification efforts. She's told that story many times and hadn't changed this story in the ensuing years. Chalk it up to good memory or deeply seated trauma, but it is, as far as I can tell, real. The stories from others, however, inspire a healthy dose of skepticism. Those who weren't too scared of government retaliation were few. And the ones who shared their stories loved their 15 minutes of fame a little too much. Any talk show or gossip rag.
What does she even have to say, really?
Heard from these types.
Wow, she's discussing people making up news about the location.
Like me,
who cares? Let's talk about the actual stuff going on.
Experience. Because these stories, as every good gossip knows, morphed over time. What started as the most powerful lightning storms recorded on Earth turned into UFOs touching down. An innocent spiderweb became something to be avoided on pain of death. A grassy lawn left untended.
This guy really stole my fucking hood, man.
Burp bunnies. The tales became
I'm so
taller as the
fucking
years
tired
went by.
of these guys, man.
The more I heard, the more my suspension of
Like,
disbelief
I wasn't even
left
like
me.
near him. I just warped my
And
fucking
while the
hood, though.
CRM disaster was only one of the many incidents that occurred over the zone's 32-year history, it is the one I return to as a prime example. Whatever happened
my
there in
hood.
CRM is the type of disaster that caused the creation of the exclusion zone in the first place. We can extrapolate from what little we know of what happened here. If this is the one story to get out, how many more horrors did Lim technology cause?
Where's my hood? Fuck you, dude. Just the hood's just missing. We don't know. I'm tired of that shit. Yeah, I'm sure they'll use the assets. Going on a long journey and half of my shit's already broken, stolen. Yeah, I hate these pickpocket guys. They're just kind of like goofy, really hard to see, and they just steal your shit and just disappear. They're not really like fun. They're just kind of like an eye roller. Like, Okay, man. Let's see if we can whip up a crude one or something here. Jesus, dude. This place is always such a pain, man. Now we gotta go again. They have such crazy huge range, man. I'll live, man. I'm not fucking dealing with that. Can I make a crude hood? How much do I need for a crude panel? 2 plastic, 2 duct tape. At least need something. Last thing I need is my fucking engine just sitting there. Brand new engine. I had to replace it because the last one just wore out. That's exactly what I needed. More grinding. They're expensive engines and shit. Weird, that thing's called Something's Out There and I've never seen anything. Torn apart. Boy. More shit that's gonna knock my parts off. Hopefully using the shield will help. Sucks that I had to get rid of the side battery. It's like jolting the car. I don't know how bad that is, but that's what caused the part to pop off and not the pickpocket. Like, well, I don't want that on there then. I'll live, I've got jumpers and shit. But... more lore? I could just move on to the next area right fucking now, dude. You know what? I think I might. It's like somebody DM me. I'm waiting for them to finish their thought. Alright. One sec, I need to do something. Got another art bot in the server. We've had a few. I'm gonna refresh the link to Discord. Give me just a minute. I don't really want to be doing right now, but they've probably scraped all the chats for these invites. I need to make a new one. I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a few of these around, but Nightbot. Commands, custom. Right. The list. What do you mean? Of course. I just want alternate calls to it, but you have to make like a completely separate section. Yeah, if you mean like a Discord one, then I mean, no, I don't know. Oh, Twitch? Yeah, no, Twitch, we ban those all the time. Problem is they're getting into Discord now. They're like scraping the chat for these Discord links because that's the only place my Discord link is available. And they're like just sitting in the server. And then occasionally they'll DM people about their art. No, I figured while I was in here fucking with it, I might as well, right? How do I add extra calls to stuff? I guess you guys add a command. Okay. That works. Yeah, I appreciate it. No, yeah, I have some bot sites for Twitch. That's what Godo's always banning. He just likes to ban them. I appreciate the work, the effort, the good lad. All right, we're just so close to actually just getting to this next zone. I'm just gonna go for it. It's a perpetual one, so we'll be fine. Yeah, it's just a good idea. I should have it YouTube and I guess Twitter. I don't really do the Twitter. I don't really do the Twitter thing those kids are doing, which maybe I'll live to see that die too, like Facebook kind of did. I guess Facebook's still around. The best Twitter account. The one that doesn't say a damn word, just the way I like it. Perfection. Yeah. Yeah, just liking the occasional tweet every few months. Random Nintendo, like fisheye filter games. Hopefully I don't need any more juice. Because I do not have any.
Give us the rundown, Francis.
What, me?
The electrical grid is your department.
You know the plan as well as I do.
So you'd rather trust me than have to speak up for yourself?
Guess you're on your own, driver. Good luck. Okay, fine. The regular anchors aren't enough to overcharge the arc device to the level we need. But there's an old anomaly barricade we can piggyback onto. It's archaic technology, an early attempt to stop anomalies from drifting out into the wider Olympic Peninsula. It worked for some time. Until it didn't. But long enough to get the old wall built.
The barricade's in bad shape, but what's a little rampant voltage leakage? Not like the ghosts and goblins of the Deep Zone will mind. And if they do, more the better for Francis. Huh?
Appreciate the olive branch, Avi, but boy, do you have a lot to learn about the paranormal. I'd be happy to give you a primer after all this is over.
Hard pass. I'm far too old for that.
The car will induce a current along the barricade in the same way you did it crossing the old wall. Every connection point needs to be induced within a limited time. Electrify the entire barricade,
I think the time
and we'll have
actually
all the
matters.
power we need.
You heard him. Floor it, driver.
Yeah, can somebody give me some fucking duct tape? My fucking shit got stolen, bro.
You're near the barricade's operating station. Can you get in there and look around? We need something that'll give us the lay of the land.
Alright. Just need a little bit of duct tape, man. Make a shitty makeshift crude panel. The most important panels, man. The engine. It just disappeared, dude. It's gone. To the void. Trade magnets for rubber. It's like a 3 or 4 scrap cost for a single magnet, and that's going to be like 10 magnets for one rubber. Those transfer things are actually insanely bad. Like such a bad there's something in here, map. Oh, right here. It is such a bad fucking
Perfect. I'm uploading the barricade
proposition.
back to your arc device. By my calculations, if you electrify all 8 posts,
You'll have all the power you need. Oppie, does that seem right?
Does it seem right to you?
I think so. Yeah, I ran the numbers a few times, and
Then get to it, driver.
Unlock all barricade gates. Okay. There's actually a time limit on this shit.
All right, it's working.
Is there supposed to be music? Oh my god, I turned it off because I was listening to the DMCA shit. Let me double check that my VOD has audio too. I actually saw someone doing a stream where they separated their own music from the game music and still had the game music on. Which is, I mean, always been possible, but I'm like, yeah, I should probably look into doing that at some point. Dude, we get it now. Tires fucked
Looking
up.
good, driver.
Sounds good. Gotta go for some tacos. I had a day with some hot dogs. And a muffin. We'll get something nice tomorrow after work. I should start making quesadillas again. Maybe I'll do some rice tonight or tomorrow. There's some chicken in the freezer. Chicken and rice. Yeah, that's also based on. It's known as a pulled pork sandwich. Sammy. Burritos are good. Yeah, my go-to, if I could just have any Mexican food, probably quesadillas.
Okay, okay.
But I don't know. I've talked about that before. Just about any Mexican food I like. It's just good. I mean, it's all got a very similar composition. So if you don't like one of those things, like cheese or something, you're fucked. But quesadillas, enchiladas, tamales, man. So probably the other god shit.
We're charged. Arc device readings at 4.2 gigajoules and holding steady.
Good. Then we're all set. The arc device is ready to go. It'll hold that charge for as long as we need it.
Now what?
Pedal to the metal, driver. Storm's coming.
Holy Jesus. Like a glove. What is chicken tinga? Elucidate me. Oh, burrito bowls. Burrito bowls and taco salad. Lower on my list. I mean, I only know taco salad, I guess.
Nice work out there. The whale could be a lot. Take your time and gear up. No telling what that remnant's going to unleash.
The end of the road. Road to the well. I've never had it like this at burrito bowl. What's the approach?
Hey, driver. I sent you something, if you don't mind taking a look.
The well. That does sound good. Yeah, burrito's the best bang for your buck, probably, I'd say. In general. Why is this underneath here? I've always put this back. Alright, this might be the, optional to grab this item. It's probably like Tobias's ashes or something. That'd be like the biggest asshole. To not take it. Some burrito bowls is just like a mix of rice and beans and it's all the usual burrito stuff without the tortilla, or you mix the tortilla in there too?
Tobias's favorite cryptid of them all. If it's not too much to ask, if you could put it on your dashboard so Tobias can come along for the ride, for
Wherever you're going.
but don't feel obligated by any means.
If I have to, bro. What is this, Bigfoot? Like a big fucking like hippo, man. Crunch. With a capital C. We don't have enough plastic. I'll bring some extra shit this time, man. Yeah, it sounds good. I haven't had Mexican food in a while. I said the cheapest place we go to if I'm eating out is kind of more of an American place, American diner type. There's a place next to it that's not too bad either. That's Mexican. When I make my own food, it tends to be the rice and mix in what you want variety. Alright, might be the last rodeo, man. They certainly are making it seem like it. Approach the well. Curious. I don't think I get any other panels because we never found the belching barnacle. So he's kind of like, get fucked, I guess. I'm sure most of these are some nightmare you can't get anyways. Need carbon fiber for that. Not happening, Jim. Like I said, the thing about this game is like nothing's really super required or super useful. You go through so many different areas of the same types that the idea of actually swapping your stuff out for whatever's the most useful is cool, but rarely it actually is necessary in any kind of way. Because you're gonna go through an electric place probably. You're gonna be going out. This has always got like acid, right? There's explosions and impact in all of them. You know, I mean, I don't need lead plated anymore because I've got the ion shield, which apparently is gonna stop working now. So. And it just kind of protects you. So it's just kind of like this thing where some of the cool swapping out of parts and stuff that you're kind of like, oh, maybe in the end game I'm gonna have to think really hard about, and that kind of, you know, unnecessary thing that gets in the way. Luckily I had just enough tree candy, otherwise I would have saved. I don't think any of the story areas are going to be made to be very difficult. It's funny now. Finally have chemicals now, but I'm out of plastic. I just can't win, man. Thought I had some, whatchamacallums, some healing shit. So I don't plan on doing a lot of looting, so we're just gonna drop all sorts of shit in there. A blowtorch. Just make one. Oh, don't have enough plastic to make a blowtorch. Olympium fragment. Can't make that. Olympium fragment. I don't know if the Olympium fragments truly are as annoying and grindy as they seemed. Definitely seemed like that was the case. Technically, I've never hit one with the magnetic smacker, although it looks like it's, I mean, literally doesn't say it's anything other than just more damage and more durability. I imagine it's quicker too. So it's like, I don't really care too much. But, I don't know, we'll see, man. The limb shield's fucking going now too. Is there anything that isn't going then right before the end here? Plastic. Fucking good God, man. Here's hoping that's enough plastic. ass fucking trip fixing up every fucking thing on this car, dude. I need to make that side battery too. Plastic. Everything needs plastic. I have some stuff I could just break for plastic. Outlook, unlikely. These flare guns, I mean, you'd think these flares would have plastic in them. They literally are fucking like made of plastic. Let's find out. They just ate them. Okay. Vac, anchor radar. Don't need these. A little plastic. Need 4 more. Don't need a liberator. Probably put the buddy kit in here too. Let's see. I got like 1 plastic out of that. 2. 1 more. Probably take some insulated shit. Probably break that down. No plastic in that. Didn't get anything back from that. Okay, there we go. Jesus. Game's trying to keep me in its clutches, man. It's like, oh, you're going to the last mission, are you? All of your shit's not working anymore. Too. Why is everything all of a sudden not working? I've never seen this many objects just not work. Everything just fuck. What did I make all these at the exact same time and now they're all fucking breaking? But it was like a story thing. They make them all break before the final mission. Just one last fucking kissy kissy with your car, man. A little damage your tires take, but everything else does. Rubber. Strong ass rubber. Really, my fuel tank is breaking out too. Is there something weird going on? Is this like a quirk? All of a sudden, the fuel tank. And let me guess, all plastic. Like everything else in this. Nope, rubber, thank God. Apparently I've got another one somewhere. Waiting for some brand new thing I just made a break down. My backseat tank is broken now as well. Is there something going on, dude? Is it a bug? Like, seriously, dude. Rusty. I mean, it's probably gonna be fine. Let's hope that's the same mats. Yep. At least these are nice and cheap, man. I mean, you need rubber, but at least that's like all you need. Turn the car off. Give it one last paint job before we go to. Just gonna go ahead and assume the battery in the back seat's also broken just for fun. But that one will break as soon as I start the fucking next area though. Jesus fuck. Lord. Oh yeah. Okay. The dumpster. This man have one last thing for me. Duct tape. I probably should have checked him for the plastic. Hey buddy, I need plastic. He's handing me out canned food. What are you, a fucking joker, my guy? That was fucking useful. Some backup flares. Get some food just in case shit gets really weird, but I'll be fine. Check for quirks because I'd hate for that to end up being a big problem on the road. Car. That's my fucking hint, dude. I got plenty of stuff. Car's on an incline. Dashboard. I mean, who cares, man? Flickers. I can't see my speedometer. 2 mechanics kits and 1 electrician's kit so I can see my speedometer on an incline. Fuck you. Jesus Lord, man. Like, no, man. Trying to get the wood paneling going here, but every one of these has so much crap on it. Like, oh yeah, that really looks like wood paneling, dude. Come on, man. It's funny, all these cosmetics, but at the end of the day, because of all the shit that you've got, like, layered on top of your car, like the protection and stuff, it would just look like shit anyways. Let's turn it pink, man. The big pink mobile. Yeah, it just looks like brown paint. Oh great, this doesn't go over the decal. Can I like remove the decal? I guess I could add a different one. Weird wag. This was sort of the mystery machine, dude. Looks fucking horrible. So that's the best we could do there. That doesn't even like fit right. I know it's supposed to be like kind of like a stripe or something, but not quite Scooby-Doo, but you know, we tried, okay? Alright, this fucker ready to rumble, man. Fuck it, man, I'll do the plasma scrapper. At this point, I don't care about resources, I just care about speed. ET's on the run. Okay, make a save and then it's time. A long journey to seemingly the last area. We're back. Whew, okay. Okay. Protect. Alright. Let's do it. I think we're prepared as we're gonna be. Never got the time thing. Never got the... the anything, really. All the end games, not the newest engine. I was like, I'm not farming that Olympium, dude. It's so deep in to get to. And then maybe you get more than one if you use the magnetic camera, but I'm just like... such a turn off seeing that up. The massive grind for some of these last few items that just, you know, at this point you don't need, right? It's just not, the game's barely needed you to like yeah, you need to have, you know, it's nice to have some of the gadgets, it's nice to have more battery and fuel, those things maybe even are necessary. They definitely save you enough time to play more efficiently. But at the end of the day, like the armor, the engine I've got, especially because it costs more fuel, it's not even direct upgrade. Just doesn't really... You just kind of do it for its own sake, which is cool in a way, right? I mean, it's cool when things synergize a bit better. Like it feels really impactful, or changes how you play, or it's very useful, or, you know, something like a Subnautica's case, right? Like, I keep bringing that up because it's a good example. You just, every time you get an upgrade, you literally get to go somewhere new. It just feeds right back into the exploration or automation of things so you can spend more time doing other shit, right? Where in this, it's like you're always still just crafting the same, scavenging the same. You can slightly improve your speeds here and there with like the scrapper thing, but it costs like double the mats. So it's like you had to spend that time to get those too, so... It's kind of like a lose-lose. I might actually... I said I wasn't going to loot anything. Probably should actually have like a bit of spare stuff. In case I do have to make something. So unless it's like I just don't, really. So doing it for its own sake, you know, is fine, but I'm 35 hours in, and it pretty much plays like we did at the beginning. You got different anomalies and locations, but you interact with them all in the same way. You don't like learn a whole lot, you just avoid them. You just drive past them. Or they just get a little more annoying and you have to drive farther past them or completely avoid them. This will probably be the most chill of all of them because I'm not going to loot shit. We're just going to cruise, man. Shame we won't be listening to the music for this last trip here, but that's okay. In-game soundtrack, the non-DMCA shit is kind of whatever, but the DMCA shit. Just like barely lip something. Why is my encoding overloading all of a sudden? Hasn't been doing that for the entire game. But now it is. But yeah, it's just gotten a little too grindy. Not enough reward or mix up in play style and stuff. Like I said, I think on average I've probably got more game time in this than most people do already, so that there's another like probably 10-15 hours of grinding I could do, or if I wanted to get like all the logs or something, even more than that. Like, I'm just like, alright, man. There's not enough pulling me there. I don't need to. Worst opinion of the game just to grab like 100% it or something. But it just seems kind of odd you like finish the game without getting all the upgrades that are really cool, like another engine or something. I've got one engine upgrade this whole game. It's like the most obvious way to change the playstyle, right? So you move quicker and shit. Like I could put on the NOS or the jacks or something, and then I guess you can do the little jumps and boost. And that's cool. They also kind of go against the idea of playing careful, and you have limited slots anyways. That's kind of like reasons not to sometimes. Different me to get a sports car at the very end. Well, you're supposed to. I like the idea of like being attached to the vehicle and upgrading it and getting it better. I mean, you have sci-fi stuff you can use to make up for the faults of it being like a fucking station wagon or something, right? So I don't mind that part. It's more just like a lot of the upgrades are kind of, I wouldn't say cosmetic. They're useful, but they're not major. And the tuning and all that, you need to repair your car a lot. But you don't really need to like, it doesn't matter if I've insulated on or armored on. Like, it helps a little bit, but generally like their HP and your skill is gonna play in a lot more than just like, I guess, what you've got on. And it's like, you run into so many different types, like you're always going to have electricity, there's always going to be impacts you're going to hit, there's usually going to be acid, and then there's a chance of like, you know, anomaly stuff every time. It's like, well, which one do you pick, right? Like, it just kind of, it doesn't matter, right? Like, just bucket. And since you get an ion shield, which lets you protect yourself from radiation, it's like, well, oh, I don't need lead anymore, and it's like, oh, well, I get shield that protects from impacts. It's like, oh, I could just probably go easy on the armored stuff. It's just like it's like, yeah, you run into some acid here and there, but for the most part it's not a big deal. Like, it's still fun to upgrade. I just think that for the length of this game, things are just not significant enough. Either don't have much value in like learning or becoming more efficient or automating or making old areas easier, just making it feel different. I guess I could pick this up because it's 2 feet away. I really don't think I'm going to need it though. But I might pick it up just in case. A tank. That'd be funny. Yeah, I mean, it'd be funny to have, like, you know, take the soul of the thing out and put it in something else. But no, I mean, I like the idea of tinkering on one car. You develop kind of like a, you know, an attachment to it in a way, right? You know, you get to see it when you're out there. Yeah, these are the upgrades I made on it. And this is how they kind of translate into gameplay, right? In theory. Like, oh, I put this on, and now that thing that gave me trouble before is now not a problem. Yeah, that's cool. Just spawn that underneath, man. That's fucking sick. Appreciate that. Yep, awesome. Yeah, that shit doesn't get old. Okay, yeah, that doesn't get old at all, man. It's more just like the upgrades you do get are just kind of... They're fine, but they're fine for probably something that's like half the fucking game time. Alright. Where's my buddy? Also, the fucking front panel takes so much damage compared to that. I mean, it makes sense because that's what you're gonna like hit shit with, but I took all this damage from flying up in the air. It's funny, the tires take 0 damage from flying up in the air. Oh yeah, I'm not saying everybody has to like it. I mean, I'm kind of just iffy on it as of now. I respect some of the things it does, and it does do some things well, like sound design and shit like that, but it's also like a lot of things poorly or isn't very interesting. Or shit like the resource gathering's way too samey. Driving simulator. I almost wish, I was mentioning this yesterday, it was more simulator. I wish they'd kind of like pick a lane a little bit. Like I really had to tune my shit up and it made like a big difference, and like your customizations like had a lot of value. I mean, obviously that would slow the game down more, so you'd have to clean up your resource gathering and all that, but it'd be kind of cool if there was like a bit more sim going on, because it looks like it's very involved, but it's mostly just like fixing shit and like putting on panels and stuff here and there if you want. Like optimizing your attachments and your powers and stuff is probably the most like choice you're getting, but for the most part you just spend a lot of time fixing stuff, putting stuff away, checking research menus, you know, stuff like that. It's actually not too sim-like. I don't need to be making a real car, but I just mean like, you know, they could almost push it more as a an even more involved kind of car tinkering thing. Instead it's kind of like the upgrades and like the customization's not crazy enough, but also like even if it was, you're like 2/3 of the time just out of the car just collecting shit like a generic survival crafting game, just farming. Yeah, so it's neat, like it's cool, there's neat stuff going on. I don't like hate it or anything, but yeah, I don't know if it's got enough focus. I mean, not that it's wrong to not try multiple things at once, but yeah, I don't know if it quite hits the right balance. There's way too much farming and grinding, way too many obstacles that you're always on the gun, so you're not really like soaking in the atmosphere. So the surrealness or any of the spookiness or anything is just kind of not really there. Also, the amount of obstacles and anomalies, and some of them are similar enough and handled the same way because you just dodge them, are kind of like whatever. It's like if I see an anomaly every foot, then they're not really special anymore. So it's like, I don't know, it's like more driving You know, maybe crispy driving stuff, more cool upgrades there, more knowledge I can apply to the zone, and more like interesting stuff to find. I mean, I would take a game that was half the length, that's more focused. There's a lot of things. There's a million things you could probably do. I don't know. But that's kind of my thing, is like, you could imagine it like a bunch of different ways you could probably take it. And like, there's cool ideas here. Regardless, and they do some stuff right, but I don't know, the particular blend just doesn't quite work out. I mean, even if like the story or something was compelling or the atmosphere, that'd be one thing, but I mean, it's the music's cool when you actually have the radio on and stuff, but it doesn't. It's more just got like an interesting soundtrack once you've gotten used to the idea that it's not really going to be very surreal or anything like that. And then like the story, it's like a lot of exposition, a lot of them talking about their drama. They're well acted, but I'm not like, I mean, I don't even remember half the time some of the shit that they like did, like that we've covered. What am I hearing? So it's like, you're just not like questioning the zone much. You're not like really wrapped up in the mystery of it. It's like focused on kind of like the human drama that came before and all that, which isn't like bad, but I don't know. I guess some more brevity on it all would be nice. Or just something more tangible, right? Like when I explore around and see story, it rarely translates into the gameplay at all. Like, oh, this part of the story I gotta turn on the stabilizers. Well, I've done that like 3 different times. Hell, that can even be an optional objective, or an objective you get just in a randomized map. It's like, okay, the best story mission that actually interwoven into the gameplay was the part where the Tobias guy died, and then they just reused that again, like in the last mission, right? And, you know, and that's every couple hours. If you're just busting ass, you're gonna get something like that. So I don't mind that it's just a bunch of voices over the radio, especially if they played into the psychological aspect, because, you know, they might not be real or anything. But they don't really. Okay, thanks, bro. Play that part up super hard. So it's just kind of like while I'm not like uninterested in what's going on with their little story and the mystery, it's like I'm not like super compelled by it. I'm not feeling like, ooh, you know, the atmosphere is just so stark, so fucking, you know, interesting. Like I just can't wait to find out what happens, you know. I'm really curious about this place. And I feel like with the comedy and how much the exposition there is in these like shitty radio stations, or not radio stations, but podcasts you're hearing from outside, it kind of like almost kind of tarnishes or kind of deflates the mystery of the thing. It's just everybody's so casual about everything going on, right? Even in something like Stalker, there's a lot of people who have a lot to say about it, but like the danger of it, the unexplored places, and just the general atmosphere still makes you kind of like interested in it. And I wouldn't even call Stalker like god tier, like, you know, like atmosphere or something, but like it's still, you know, it kind of just works a little bit. Yeah. Some people really dig the atmosphere on this one. I would say the car driving stuff, the weather, you know, that there is a little bit of variety, you know, that you do have to be a little methodical. You got to put the car in a park and all that kind of stuff. I think that kind of stuff adds to the immersion a lot, you know, having to get out and like scrap stuff and all that. But the problem is after 30, 40 hours, those things, like I said, buildings aren't buildings, they're resource nodes, and like you start having that mentality. You're trying to go quickly because there's the battle royale thing going on, and I feel like it hurts the immersion, which kind of hurts the story because you don't really think of the area as the area as much as you do like a place. And so it's like, it's not bad. Like those things aren't fucked, but they're like just not ratcheted up enough for me. That by the time I'm at this point now, which I haven't been bored through the game, but in the last 5 hours, I'm like, okay, I'm kind of done. It's one of those that you kind of hit that end point. And it's like, all right. It's kind of overstayed its welcome and kind of shown you its old hand. And I was talking about earlier where I feel like, you know, this one kind of built up. Like there could be a lot of cool stuff. Maybe there are going to be some you know, it's going to start out more casual, then it's going to get really bizarre and, you know, interesting, and you're going to have to, you know, figure out some knowledge or really puzzle your way through stuff. And it's mostly just kind of a linear story through human drama and a little bit of a mystery going on. And you don't really play super different, right? Like there's not a whole lot of challenge at the end compared to the beginning or anything that I need to really be prepping my ride. Like, I mean, I'm prepping it, I'm careful, but that's just me. I don't like really need to go too crazy on it. So. I don't know. It's I'm not trying to be like super down on it or anything. But.
This is really it, huh? The end of the road. Soon we'll finally see for ourselves what caused the mass hallucination and what Tobias and Alan died for.
And whether it was all worth it.
Like sometimes they can nail an atmosphere. They might throw like some actual music in there.
Yeah.
Thank you for trusting
Some
me.
good acting.
When you had every reason not to. Getting to this point together with you.
It's not like a bad
It makes
story.
me feel like my old self again.
It's been an honor to watch you work, Dr. Turner.
Let's go ahead
Scanner
with
readings.
this.
Are they real? I can't even begin to guess what could be
Outputting this much radiation. Some sort of energy reservoir, a massive fission reaction, or a portal. Atlantis.
It's funny because the guy who died
If this thing
joked
really leads
around
us to
about this being
Atlantis,
Atlantis.
I'm turning in my PhD.
God, if only Tobias were here to see it.
I would have loved
Aliens?
to hear his take on all of this. For once.
Wonder if there was a any really like fringe Easter egg anomalies or something you could find, like way out in like some of the extreme areas. I went pretty far out and I never found anything terribly crazy. But God knows the one or two interesting, unique ones I probably missed. I went into the areas that had like the something lurking around you multiple times, and I never saw whatever the fuck it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be like a Bigfoot or what?
All right, driver. You're almost to the threshold. Remember, Francis and I have got your back. Once you get that car to the well, we'll keep the gamma ray burst under control for as long as we can. Whatever happens, whatever state you find yourself in, the arc device will be your safety net. Use it. Get back to us, you hear me?
Ready when you are, driver.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, that's true on a lot of them. I mean, I play pretty careful, so. But that's the thing, is like, there's not a whole lot of. I mean, there's variety in them, but like, not variety in how you approach them. I mean, you could say that about anything, like, oh, you just avoid the threat and you don't have to worry about it. So, of course, you could technically handle them all the same way. It'd be kind of cool if there's like other ways to do it. Or they happen less often, but maybe there's more you had to like do about it. I mean, them just having just like roadblocks and hazards and stuff be anomalies is fine. I mean, having like a variety, but yeah, that's kind of what I mean. Is you approach a lot of it the same way, and I don't know if it quite has the legs for a 40-hour runtime. You know, 30 to 40. I mean, if they balance the car health and what you can do differently, it's like, yeah, you could have different kinds of threats and stuff. Well, that's the thing in Stalker, you gotta like learn stuff, you know, testing anomalies and what certain anomalies are, you know. Oh, is this one gonna be like a fire one, so I'll swap in my fire artifact and stuff like that. It's not like crazy, but you know, there's a little something to learn there. So. Funny, I see people compare this to of course, dude. I told you it was gonna break, and it broke. It doesn't at this point. Who cares? People compare this to Outer Wilds, and I do not know why. I do not think this is anything like Outer Wilds. Outer Wilds is very tight, very focused, everything is placed by hand very carefully, with No randomness, no looting. It's all knowledge checks. There's very little mechanics outside of just like movement. It's very focused on the physics and stuff. Almost like a puzzle game. I'm like, the closest thing this is to that is that it's got some sci-fi and it's got some adventure elements. But because so much of it's random, you don't feel any sense of adventure, really. I mean, you get a sense of a journey because, you know, we're literally going farther in and going through more and more kind of, I guess, spooky-ish zones. But I'll see a lot of Subnautica comparisons too, and it's like, I can see the comparisons a bit more on that, but I feel like the balance, what the resource gathering feeds back into, and how interesting the locations are and how tight it is just not even close, man. I'll see a lot of Firewatch comparisons too. Why the fuck are people comparing this to Firewatch? Sorry, I was reading some reviews there just for fun, and I was like, I saw that a lot. I was like, Firewatch? Like what? Because it has a story and there's trees. I'm like, it gave me Boss Baby vibes, man. like that Boss Baby meme. Man who's only seen Boss Baby the movie or whatever watches his second movie and says, "This is giving me Boss Baby." But oh, sorry, my tire fucking got a flat. Do you mind? Sorry. Alright, so sorry. Oh, wrong thing. I mean, it's not like it's an offense or something. It's just like, I mean, Christ, man. Like, if it kind of just, I mean, there's stuff that just, like, kind of reminds me of shit, you know, just in a small way, but I don't know. I try to usually preface by saying, you know, that it is a small reminder. Like, I wouldn't put that in, like, a fucking big review. I'd be serious about it. Like, Firewatch. Because you're in the Northwest, which is similar to, like, Canada, or, like a national park or something. Like, I don't know. Anyways, that's not a big critique on the game or any discussion thing. I just happened to see it a lot. It was just bizarre. I was like, what? Am I missing something? Oh, the first person.
Abby! Did it work? What's the energy output? Damn it, Alan, I'm fine.
I was really hoping it'd be like a... What were we calling those? The little, the diorama theme park ride thing that they have in every game, where it's like you walk through the gray ghost zone, and then there's just like a diorama or something of like a guy standing there talking, and then audio plays and the lights pop on, and then you move on to the next one or something. There's so many different flavors of that.
Can you read it?
And I roll my eyes at it now.
Let me see.
Surprised it doesn't have like a name.
500 kilojoules?
This isn't
What is this?
that at all, thank God.
Limb waves.
I call it limb waves.
Coffee delivery.
Alan, gosh. Is it that time already?
So, about leaving Arda. I was thinking, about by Christmas.
Yes, maybe. I just need to solve this instability issue. I loathe to think about leaving the Olympic Peninsula like this.
There's always more to do.
I know. I'm sorry.
And I love you for it. I'm just wondering if you'll really be able to walk away from all this. It's okay if you can't.
You abandoned the world to work here beside me. Fair is fair.
Lem Tech is a world-changing discovery.
Although this isn't that much better.
Fairness isn't even a consideration.
We agreed to have children. I'm not having them in this house.
You think this is one of those where if you move quick enough, you can skip the dialogue?
Then I hope you're ready to carry at least half of those yourself.
I love you.
Or did they actually plan it out correctly? I've had so many like that, where if you don't just stand there and wait for like 3 minutes, you're fucked.
Tobias, the movers are here. Wait, why aren't you packed?
I ain't going.
The evacuation orders.
Evacuation orders can go to hell. We leave, and we never see the inside of these walls again. All the things we've been investigating, the ripple, the echoes from the swamp, they'll all fade away. I'm gonna stay and chase down these stories. Wherever they take me,
Tobias,
stay here. With me.
You here to quote?
I'm here to deliver the committee's decision. You have been found guilty of doctoring experimental data. This action is in clear violation of Arda's scientific integrity. Judgment has been rendered. You may stay and work, but your clearance will be lowered to level 3.
So I'm to be a glorified flask cleaner.
Take it as a win. You could have been court-martialed instead.
Yeah, I'm sure you would have liked that much better.
What I like has no bearing on this decision. See you on Monday, Dr. Cook.
Yeah, kind of a dry ending. Huh?
Driver, do you read me? Driver, you passed through some
I feel
sort
like
of
they could have
opening.
probably just. I mean, we already kind of knew all this stuff. They've told us about it. We just gotta like hear it directly. It's not even like new info. Like we knew they stayed behind Tobias and his boyfriend here just to do shit, to discover stuff. Like we already knew that. What's his face came and talked to her the night the gamma rays happened, which you don't even learn there. It's just that's just like the idea, I guess. Or maybe he came out. It was a different night. Could have been any night. I think. We already know the guy got fired or like demoted for doctoring shit. So it's like none of it's new. You just get to hear it in a different light. Coupled with like 5 minutes of running, I'm like, was it necessary? Does that change anything? I mean, you get it. I guess more of a seeing is believing type of thing. You get to hear it directly, not through somebody's story. But
We managed to hold it steady,
Oh.
but the energy expulsion is growing. We don't have much longer.
If you can hear this, you need to get back now.
kind
Hey,
of, kind
look,
of whatever.
the
on it.
gang's back together.
Tobias?
I never told you how grateful I was that you stayed behind in the zone with me. These years, best of my life. Foraging for mushrooms, slogging through swamplands, combing through hours and hours of terrible field recordings. Not a single moment wasted. Thank you. For everything.
It was all you. You made me feel capable. That anything was possible.
Man,
That I
coding
wasn't
keeps
some
overloading,
second-rate
dude.
scientist.
The fuck?
All my happiness was thanks to you. And I'm afraid of how I'll survive without you.
I'm not. You got this. You always have. Hey, Oppie. Alan sends his regards. And he wants to know why you haven't taken his advice yet. Driver, is that a gumbaroo on your dash? No, I'll be damned. Bye. Until next time.
Bye.
Tobias? Tobias!
Driver, if you can hear this, we can't keep the well stable for much longer. Wherever you are, come back.
I'm coding overloaded like fuck, man. It's weird that I didn't have any issues before. I need to restart my computer or just slowly having more CPU issues. Maybe it's just this area in general. Never did turn down my stream preset.
Hold steady, Francis. Keep those limb bases aligned. Not even a .001 deviation, you get me?
I'm trying.
This music feels a little out of place.
The anchor field is wobbling, Oppie.
Where the fuck am I?
Things on your side.
Punching it as hard as I can.
I can't see anything in my rear view or inside me.
Francis, hold tight.
I can. The phase, it's desyncing.
Driver, punch it. Go.
These are anomalies. Hey, hold on. Nope, they're gone now. That's a bunch much, man. It was an unknown anomaly. I wanted to read it, but they disappeared. We're not done yet, bros.
You made it back, driver. All in one piece, it looks like.
And no sign of the Remnant's energy signature anywhere in that car.
You're free.
But the car's maintained its link to you. Fascinating. We'll never know how far the Remnant's obsessions wormed into your head, but you should be safe from it getting any worse. In theory.
Oppie, I'm sorry. You didn't get to talk to Alan again.
We managed to pull off the near impossible. And the first thing you do is apologize?
Sorry. I mean,
Don't worry, it was Tobias's fault. He hogged the frequency all for himself yet again.
you heard him too.
I did. That means I didn't imagine that last conversation with Alan. And you know what else?
What?
That your theory was right. And Tobias called it. All that bluster, and he ended up showing us scientists a thing or two. Those moments we heard, they were all from the past. Being inside that well somehow allowed the Remnant to access those imprints and replay them. But Tobias's voice wasn't from the past, it was from somewhere else entirely.
I'll get rid of my
But
stream
where?
preview.
And how?
No clue. Do me a favor.
See if that
Once you
helps.
figure it out,
But anything
don't bother telling me.
weird
I'm leaving the
happens?
zone.
I'm sorry, what?
Alan came to tell me goodbye, and that I was forgiven 37 years ago. I didn't listen. So now, finally,
Visually,
I'm going to take his
I can't
advice.
see my own
I should
stream
have
right
left
now,
the
so
zone a long time ago.
But if we solve this, maybe there's a way to speak to him again.
I heard what I needed to hear. It only took me 37 years to listen. Anyway, all that sounds like a young scientist game. It's not for me anymore. Francis, you decide what to do from here. You can carry the torch and continue the research, or get out of this cursed place and find your own way. It's your decision. And driver, you're free now. You can do what you want from here. But if you'll allow an old woman one last hope, stay here with Francis.
really another
There's
tire's
so many more
broken.
stories for the zone to tell. And the both of you are young enough to listen. My ears are bad. And I refuse to hear them. I've removed all access restrictions to my systems, Francis. The hell is yours.
Wait, I don't know if I can do this alone.
You're not alone. You've got clear eyes, ears open to the impossible, and the driver. Dr. Cook. Driver. It's been a pleasure. This is Dr. Ophelia Turner. Signing off.
Oppie?
Okay.
Oppie! Really? Well, driver, if you don't mind sticking around with me, Oppie was right. There's still so much of the zone that we still don't know about. But with your help, we can tell those stories. I'm no Oppie, but I'll do the best I can. You're no longer bound to the car, but it's stayed with you and will continue
Is
to
the
protect
game
you as you
over?
travel the zone. Go on then. As long as you're willing to drive, I'm along for the ride.
Oh. Okay. Alright. Kind of a deflation. It's funny, man. You go into the final thing, right? You know, there should be the everything, right? The coolest out there moments, and you're just walking down 5 minutes of rows of TVs, and then just do a small driving section. Not the. I mean, the outside of the area was cool looking, but not the payoff, man. Just like Outer Wilds, man. It's nothing even close to it. Anyways, man, I still had fun with it. I think it has a lot of problems. I think it's too bloated, too much crafting stuff, too many threats, not enough care about placement, the procedural generation, how all of that kind of diminishes the atmosphere, the pace, the meticulousness of a lot of like just fixing your car and all that is immersive, but also rides the line with tedium. The amount of stuff in the end game that you need to get upgrades that don't really matter, that never truly did matter, but you don't really know that till you realize, like, yeah, this is it, right? So, just all sorts of stuff. I don't know, man. You could break it down so many different ways. I mean, obviously there's expectations. I don't have a problem with that. You know, the game is how they wanted to make it. If the trailers were one way, that's whatever. From the early previews, I knew how this was supposed to kind of be. Yeah, it's a neat idea. Like, I like the idea of you tinkering on a car and having it be this kind of semi-survival thing, or this thing you kind of connect with as you travel through this place and discover all of these weird things. And you take your time with it because it's like, you know, it's your shield, it's your wheels, it's your way to move around, and but you know, that exploration of stuff, like, you know, that's I think that's a big place where it kind of fails on that front. And also kind of how much tinkering really has value and how much of it's just kind of repairing shit. A lot of like really end game upgrades that seem like they could be cool, maybe, but they're like huge grinds. And the game's just pretty much over. I mean, you can get it for its own sake, but like, you've seen the game in the first 5 hours. It doesn't have like a huge change, and if anything, the more time you spend with it, the less magic there is in it, because of the procedural generation, because of how much you're going to be grinding the same things over and over, how much you're looting the same areas, how those areas turn from buildings into resource nodes, and it's just, the atmosphere is just kaput. I don't think the story does a lot of any lifting really to help you kind of stay into the location. It's well acted for sure, and the general framework, I guess, is fine, right? But it's nothing too great. I mean, it's just some doctors experimented on some mysterious shit and then things went wrong. Not too crazy, and they have so much exposition and so much human drama that they kind of ramble on about over time, and flip-flop on tones, that I find myself just not finding it very compelling. And then the ending was really kind of just kind of a wet fart there, man. If anything, you know, having a big kind of like, whoa, you know, this is the end kind of deal. I mean, they try to tie in all the little stories. You get to hear the conversations. So it's like, you know, the idea there where it's like, oh, these are things I learned and now I get to see them again. You know, that's pretty common, right? You get the journey comes full circle and you reflect and all that, but it just doesn't hit because you didn't care that much about them in the first place. And I feel like the mystery of the atmosphere and stuff is just not strong enough. Oh, okay. It's like comedic timing. It's like the vocals start coming and then just the quiet hum of the fucking car. I'm staring at this rusty trunk, dude. Is that it? Is there like actually something else to be done? I guess you can go back to the well. I don't know if you get something for like finding every area. There's clearly like a few more out here. This one doesn't have any entrance other than right here. I'd have to run through this twice. I gotta wonder if there's like a secret out here, maybe. I'd imagine I'm only missed 2, maybe 4 total. Like 1, 2, 3, probably 4, 5. Maybe there's a 6th. And we've seen how they kind of are, so. Yeah, so I don't know. Wasn't too compelled by the story. I don't think it was like shit or anything. but I was trying to go for a lot of tones. You had this like almost like a joke kind of guy, the goofy bumbling guy, kind of like with this like really thick accent and all that, which there's nothing wrong with that, but like it comes across as almost like some kind of like a fucking movie trope or something. And then you've got, you know, like, you know, the bitchy lady, and then the nerdy dude, and you know, they'll talk about like some human stuff, some serious stuff, you know, people dying and all that, but then also kind of just be kind of goofy, and there's a certain comedy to, like, you know, some of the car stuff. I got like the mystery machine with like bobbleheads and all that, but I'm supposed to be exploring these kind of like surreal areas with like a bunch of things that could fuck you up. And I don't think trying to balance a bunch of tones is wrong by any means, but I don't think it's, the mix is like just really strong. I keep using the word compelling, but it doesn't have pull off like all of that super well. Like I said, I don't think the story's interesting enough, and when you're just fooling around outside, it's not like there's any other kind of like funny things going on, or any way that the story or anything mixes in with the gameplay hardly. There's like a couple set pieces, right? So I don't know, it's just kind of, I feel like those tonal shifts, all the talking, the looting, I feel like almost every piece of this is like working against something else, right? And it's usually at the cost of, like, for me, like atmosphere and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I mean, gameplay wise, like I said, I enjoyed the idea of it. I was really looking forward to kind of taking my time and planning out my car and all that. And I did plan out some stuff, but I mean, you just throw like, I mean, I threw some more fuel capacity. I threw some more battery capacity, right? I put a shield, and then I had a story shield I put on. And that's really about it, right? I mean, yes, there was other things. Most of the cool ones seemed to be super late game, grindy. Those needed to come way earlier. There needed to be more of it. It changes your play style. That either makes things easier to do, or lets you kind of apply like knowledge or stuff in different ways. What's up, Silent? But for the most part, it was just like, and I mean, upgrading your efficiency is nice and all that, but like, for almost 40 hours, right? Like, I don't know if, you know, for how much looting you do, for how many upgrades there are, if they're truly like interesting enough or significant enough. No, definitely not. I don't dislike it. I think it's just fine. I respect it. It tries to do some cool stuff, and I really value these kind of like different kind of games, but in a lot of ways it's not that different too. The worst parts of it are some of the most mundane tread on ground, like the survival crafting stuff and the proc gen and all that shit. So I would say not. I wasn't bored with it till the end, but I wasn't like, you know, blowing loads when I was enjoying it either. So, but yeah, so gameplay wise, you know, I like having to like methodically fix stuff, and you know, you gotta put the car in a gear, and you know, you can physically like turn on all the stuff, and most things in here have some kind of like meaning, right? Like these meters and all that. So it's got like a certain kind of immersion quality to that. The sound design's really nice. The sounds are more muted when you're in the car. You can open it. They sound a little louder. You know, your radio carries in and out. So they do a lot of cool stuff with immersion. And gameplay kind of mixes there. But like I said, just for the length of it, for the core gameplay kind of loop, use that term. It's just not really. Not enough, or not strong enough, not focused enough. Like, you drive, but like you get out every 20-30 seconds to like loot something, and you get really tired of doing that, and then you find by the end it's like, well, if I want to get all the upgrades, I need to be doing that even more. And then they introduce like Olympium fragments, which maybe there's a way to get those easier. Maybe literally just specifically using this specific version of the hammer, you get a bunch. But when I broke it with a normal hammer, I only got one, and I'm like, I need like hundreds, and each of these nodes has like 3. And like, I would be here for fucking ever. So it's just like, you just start having those things pop up, and you start, you know, you're used to the immersion stuff. You've seen all the locations and the anomalies. You know what kind of mystery there is, and you know, that you're not going to find anything really special around any corner, and then you're like, well, so what I got left? It's like I got the grind left, and I'm like, who cares at that point, right? I'm just like, I'm not interested in that. So I think all that stuff could have been tuned down a bit and been a bit more impactful as we went. Honestly, like, there's so many different ways to go. I mean, like, more driving could have been cool, or less procedural could have been cool. Something shorter could have been cool. Tighter story and more thought about and placed, like, you know, surreal elements. Like, there could have been all sorts of stuff that could have been cool. Like I said, it tries to wear a lot of hats and just doesn't quite hit for me in enough areas. Like, it's neat, and it's one of those I think looks very, very cool in the first like 10-15 hours, because you're like, oh yeah, you know, the immersion stuff's still kind of neat. The story could go somewhere, like, it's a little too much yapping and stuff, but you know, you don't know where it's going to be. Clearly, you know, I even said to myself, like, oh, we're on the outside areas, right? When it gets farther in, maybe it's going to be different. Maybe it's going to be like kind of chill and comfy, and then it gets a little bit more weird, and it is that way. But it's like, is it really like? You start to realize like that's not really going to happen. It's not really going to change that much once you get going. So, yeah, just taking panels off stuff and putting it on other stuff. I mean, like I said, more sim elements could have been cool. Like, you could have pushed it in a lot of ways, I guess. Like, oh, these panels really do make like a big difference, and you know, I have to really plan where I'm going. Like, maybe you don't go through as many areas, but you kind of have to plan out where you are going. Maybe resources aren't as much of a grind. It's more about tuning it correctly. You're like, you know, I'm going to an electricity place. Maybe I'm going to tune this for electricity. I'm going to change how my battery is. I'm going to change, put on these gadgets and stuff, and they come a little easier, so it's almost kind of like a puzzle. And then maybe there's like knowledge you can learn on the go. When you scan stuff, you can learn shit about it, or you have more tools to like test anomalies, and maybe they're more complicated or something. Or I don't know. I'm just spitballing. Maybe they're not good ideas, but it's like just like something, right? It's like you mainly just grind resources like any old survival crafting game, which is really old. I got really tired of those kind of games. I like survival crafting just fine. Some of my favorite games, like a Subnautica, like has elements of that, but tuning them just right, the upgrades, the pace of it, how they feed back into like adventure or whatever your main thing is. Like, if you just like this game is very addicting. It's got that kind of monkey enjoyment, like, ooh, numbers, ooh, loot, ooh, shinies, ooh, you know, completionism. But I find that very hollow these days, just for its own sake. Like, it's still fun, but like, there's so many games that can have that feed into something greater, and it's just like, I don't think you get that here. I think it's supposed to be the story. I think this is supposed to feel a bit more car sim like, but it's not really. I don't know. It does a lot of cool things. I would play another game by the dev, for sure. It's not like I hate it, but have you tried the new Coke, the spiced one? Yeah, I tried it yesterday. Don't like it much. It's fine. Like, I drink it. I was hoping it would be spiced and not raspberry spiced. The raspberry part kind of turned me off. Just something with like a spice to it would have been fine with the Coke taste. But yeah, it's cool. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot to talk about in this one. I think it'll be very interesting to kind of see some of the discourse on it. Some people, it's the best game ever. Some people are just like, yeah, it's really boring, or it's really repetitive. Actually, the reason the Steam reviews are so low is because of the save system in this. I thought it'd just be my kind of complaints, which maybe people haven't finished the game at this point. A lot of the biggest problems with this kind of rear their head once you get into the second half, but because you start to realize, you know, variety, repetition, and immersion in the story aren't going anywhere, that kind of shit. But yeah, the save system, I didn't die, so not as a bragging point, but like, if you play careful, it's pretty hard to die. So if you die, yeah, I'm just talking about the game. It's over now. You just have to restart from before you left, I think. So the idea is, or at least, no, that's not when you die. I think when you, I don't know, when you die, I think, you come back, but your like car is completely fucked. You pretty much just have to restart. But the big complaint I see is that you can't save in the middle of a trip, like a suspended save. You know that it's existed since time immemorial, which I do think is shit. I think being able to save anywhere would kind of make some of the game a little too easy, and you wouldn't like actually have to sit with your mistakes and all that. Although if they had more developed anomalies and interesting like crafted zones, I'd be fine with it. But at least like a save before every area you go into would make sense, right? But yeah, you can't suspend your save. So if you quit the game at any point on a trip, and the trips can get to be a couple hours long if you're taking your time, yeah, you lose it. You have to restart back here at the beginning. So that's where actually the Steam reviews, like almost all of them, the negative ones. Sadly, because I was trying to read some other ones, but there's only a few that actually like beat the game at this point that had negative reviews. So. I mean, there's more than a few, but I thought that was interesting. That one feature, the save thing, like slaughtered their Steam reviews. But, which, like I said, Steam reviews, who cares that much? But it does matter, probably for sales and stuff. People are gonna look on them differently. Also, somebody said IGN gave it a 4 yesterday. They did not. It's like a 7. But anyways, care less about the reviews, more about the discourse on it, because I think it's a really interesting game to talk about, because it does a lot of cool stuff. How it looks in trailers, how it looks in a snippet, how it actually is, how many things it tries to do, the tones it tries to balance, the length it is, like the kind of content it has. There's a lot going on it. I find it, I guess, in a talking kind of way, pretty fascinating. But yeah, overall though, it was alright. Don't hate it. Don't think I'd ever revisit it. Don't love it. There's a lot of issues. I wish I just feel like super compelled at some point, like I was just really into the atmosphere and the exploration, or you know, I really felt like proud of the car and tuning it and feeling that kind of reward for the labor kind of deal. But at the end of the day, I was like, I just didn't care what was on it past like the side stuff and the fuel, and how I actually drove it. Like, yeah, I got better at it, but you kind of just avoid really fancy potholes in this game. It's kind of the whole thing. Sometimes the potholes move, sometimes they just are there and they're explosive, you know. It's like it's kind of the whole deal. So and then later on in the game you could turn on a shield that lets you drive over all the potholes and you don't have to care anymore. Which, I mean, I guess, yeah, making it easier is cool, but I also, I don't know. Yeah, it could have been more sim-like. It could have been more of like an actual exploration thing. Could have been more of just a driving game. Like toning down the resources, extending out how much you're driving, what kind of things you're going to see while you're driving, you know. Double down on the atmosphere. I think it's one of those things that has so much like such a great concept and potential that I think anybody could just sit here and just be like, ooh, yeah, this is what I wanted. This could work. This could be that. You know, it's like, it's a roguelike, heavy duty, like gathering and crafting kind of game. It's like, well, okay, that's not necessarily bad, but I think it's so overtuned on the fucking grind, man. I don't know. I guess just as far as the procedural generation goes, I mean, they do feel like, you know, there's a few issues I had with it. You'd see stuff spawn and shit it shouldn't be. For the most part, though, they did feel like actual roads with mountains and stuff. They probably aren't all procedural. Some of them are probably just like, you know, rotated around or chunked out or something. Like, I mean, that element was cool, but the problem is, like, you're never going to find anything unique. So. Like, I mean, each area, I guess, had a predisposition to have a certain kind of anomaly. But at the end of the day, it still didn't really matter a whole lot. I liked the idea of, like, I mean, would it have been better just as, like, one big world you could, like, explore? Like, maybe. But at least, like, within this framework of, like, picking nodes on, like, a kind of, like, a little, I guess, roguelike map, the highways and stuff to kind of speed shit up. It kind of added a little extra reward to just unlocking most of these. But yeah, like this one's like almost always has the something's hiding and the like something's moving kind of thing. I don't know what it's supposed to be. Never found that. Yeah, there's a few more hiding out here. There's probably some cool Easter eggs. I wouldn't be surprised hiding. But yeah, it's just, I just think the game loses a lot of steam. I would say you start to kind of get, once you're in the middle zone, you're like, okay, you know, the areas are getting a little different. We're picking up stuff. I'm still getting some upgrades. But, you know, you're kind of looking to the story there to be like, okay, you know, is this where we really kick it up a notch maybe? Because the gameplay's clearly not going anywhere super different. And then I think once you get to this final area, especially the Olympium fragments, you're like, okay, good. Like, I'm good. I hear it. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. If you guys have anything else you want to talk about on it, I mean, obviously I don't think anybody here actually had time to play through it yet or just touched it, but it's one of those you could probably talk about all day. I couldn't even really get like a good idea of what I felt about it through most of it. All I knew, I wasn't like all in on it. Like I didn't have that like that feeling of playing like truly like a great game, something real special. I think the elements of like immersion and the methodical slow pace and stuff is what was kind of the most interesting for me for a while, and that it was a driving game mixed with genres you don't quite expect usually, but yeah. Once you get past that, I mean, it kind of falls into the same potholes. A lot of survival crafting, procedural generation kind of stuff does. And I think those things just don't fare well with like atmosphere sometimes. They can, but I think it quite works out here. Anyways, I'd play another one, I guess. I'd be a little wary if they just made another one of these. But I think it has potential-ish. But I think fundamentally the procedural resource stuff, I don't know. Without cleaning up the upgrades and the pacing, I'd almost rather just have something a bit more about atmosphere in the drive. So. Not that it was bad to like have those things. I mean, they can make a lot of tension and can be interesting, but I just didn't like how they did it. I maybe they could really nail it in the second one, but like I'd play another game by the devs maybe. Like, I don't know. Best part of the game? What is there, eyeball somewhere? That I missed. Oh, the radiation thing on the HUD, yeah. Pretty much. No, there was a lot of writing and lore too. I kind of would have preferred when you scan something if it actually told you information on it and you could like use that to like learn stuff. There was a lot of flavor dialogue. That's like, that kind of sucked because that was like your main reward. Stuff like the podcasting and all that were kind of just like really dry. And the podcast itself even remarks that like it has nothing to say. I'm like, okay. Like clearly you have to go out of your way to find those. I'm just like, alright. but not like really. Like I'm fleshing. There's lore. It's being fleshed out and all that. It's not like completely uninteresting, but I don't know. It's definitely not a backbone the game can stand on. So and that kind of goes for most everything. No. I'm just gonna get a PC save at endgame from Goaty, remake my Xbox One guy. So I'm playing that shit on Xbox One. Should just be an endgame save though. After Bloodborne, I'm not New Game Plus and any FromSoft DLC the first time through, man. Yeah, the load times, they don't even spawn the skulls on the ground, and the FPS is really bad. I don't even know if the DLC is on Xbox One. Really? Yeah. I mean, after the first time I did it, I always do New Game Plus Bloodborne. I just always played on the same file, but yeah, when you're learning, it's pretty spicy. So, and I'd like to just play on my dude. I don't want to replay most of the game either. I mean, it wouldn't take long to just bust through to get to Mog, because they already confirmed that you have to beat Mog to start the DLC. It starts at the cocoon or whatever, the egg. I mean, if you don't do the side quest to unlock him, that's like endgame. So I don't feel like redoing the whole thing. I've seen so many playthroughs of that game at this point. I don't need to replay it. Do the DLC whenever. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's probably about it on this one. There's more to dig into. There's probably lots I missed. I talked about the sound design, like the weather effects and all that kind of stuff. I think visually the game was fine. I didn't have, I mean, like I said, I wish a little bit more like strong visual atmosphere, but I mean, it looks cool enough, right? It's the Pacific Northwest. They play with the light and the dark pretty well. Their headlights actually matter quite a bit. You get some big structures here and there and cool things to see. I don't think a lot of it just wows me, but it's not like a bad looking game or anything. I don't care much about the fidelity. And technical issues, I did have some bugs. Some were really annoying that almost wiped my run. Like falling through the earth and all that kind of stuff. For the most part though, it wasn't too bad. Oh cool, yeah. Let's get some food or hang out, man. I'm sure I'll be available outside of work one of those days. Yeah, should be cool. But yeah, some technical side of things, I didn't have a whole lot of bugs, but they were kind of annoying. And it ran fine. I see a lot of people say it runs like shit. I'm on a 1080 Ti. I have my stream preset still at max 1080p with the medium preset and 60 FPS. I sometimes dip into low FPSs and it's not always super smooth depending on where I'm at, but like it's fine. Everything's on high except shadows. Shadows destroy this game. You just gotta turn the shadows down. So it'd be cool if they could clean up the shadow problem a bit, but not too bad. I'm getting a lot of encoding overloads right now, but that might be your PC or something. Yeah, and I guess that's about it. So overall, maybe I could. This would have been a game I probably know this would have been really good. Just go down the list. Not much discussion, I guess, on it because I am playing it like day one, but I guess there's a lot I still like to say about it. So yeah, overall, I thought it was okay. I respect it. I like some of what it does a lot. You know, I take this over some mindless open world Ubisoft shit, of course, but I would take just about anything over that. But yeah, I just think it's got pacing, grinding, atmosphere, story, depth problems and repetition problems and stuff. Anywho, I get where people might be really into it if you really just bought the atmosphere. Maybe you just ignored all the grinding, you just did what I did and you just rolled through areas, because you really could. Like, as long as you got like fuel and batteries, you could probably just play it like just completely mindless. I mean, this game also has an absolute assload of just like accessibility options. But I understand, I think you can pretty much just turn off like everything. Infinite fuel, so you're like, ah, this is like annoying. You can just turn off car damage and just damage entirely. Tap to shift gears. Oh, there's gears in this? Like, turn on more stuff. Oh, realism. Oh, no, these are just make it easier. Not bad. I mean, it's cool this is here. I mean, some of this I'm like, did you really give players this kind of power? Like, I imagine you want people to play the game you've designed to a certain extent, right? Like, I mean, I don't know if you need to like be able to pick apart the difficulty like that. But honestly, some of it might be an improvement because they might not have had the best ideas for some of these in the first place. So. But in terms of actual accessibility, right, for people who, you know, maybe a disability or something, that's good stuff. So. Yeah. So, anyways, that was Pacific Drive. Next, we're gonna probably continue Yakuza. I might jump into that here in a few minutes. Probably gonna clean up and get ready for tomorrow's long day of work. Got a lot of physical stuff to do, and then I'll just kind of stream probably until it's time to hit the hay. I'll probably be back in like an hour or something. The direct tomorrow. Thank God I'm working. That's all I can say. Is there any rumors as to what it's gonna be? Have they said how long it's gonna be? I mean, I'll be reading about it while I'm in the car, I guess, afterwards in Discord, but can't say I'm sad I'm missing it. Yeah, I keep hearing about black and white, some kind of black and white thing. I don't care about either of those, so perfect for me. I won't need to play them. Game Freak would have to do a lot to get me pumped for a Pokemon game, and it's not going to be a remake, I tell you that. It will never be a remake. So, unless it was a remake that was like like some Nintendo hired this man shit, where it was like almost a reimagining, right? Pokemon Stadium 3, like they have the animation team to even pull off another stadium. Yeah, I mean, if it was a Pokemon game made by a different company, I'd be interested. Arceus 2? Wasn't that just Scarlet and Violet? Yeah, Arceus 1 sucks, so I mean, I'd play it, because at this point it's just a train wreck. I can't help but keep watching. But, it's just an open world one, like, well, it's like a map-based one instead of a full open world. Another shit story, same shit gameplay, but you catch Pokemon more like Pokemon Go is the big difference. And you could ride your Pokemon and they kind of can fly or climb mountains, I guess. But it feels like shit and the world looks like shit. There's nothing to find and it's really grindy. The shit story. But yeah, so I mean, in a way, Arceus at least tried to do something different, but it's like, you know, It's like saying, you know, I try to stand on my toilet to take a shit instead of sitting on it. It's like, it's not really, it doesn't really matter. It's just kind of, it's just kind of it's kind of a bad idea and poorly done. It's kind of whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I'd play another one. Hopefully there's no Pokemon game this year, man. I don't feel like playing one really. I would play a new one, but I refuse to play any more remakes from Pokemon. I skipped out on Omega Ruby and Sapphire, and I haven't played any remake since. Kick a record too, yeah. Could you imagine? They use the Pokemon Direct to shill out their shitty fucking indies. Weird. Oh yeah, I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, the plan is to probably do Yakuza. Hype trailer with no music. People like VTubers, man. Story's over. I walked up there with like a Mario shirt. My Mario simp, dude. What's it news? Well, I guess VTuber's a little different. Well, I mean, good for him, and was it like a fun thing in our community? I don't know who the fuck Mio is. There's a lot of fucking people with VTuber rigs, man. For some reason, I just browsed all and just scrolled through. Yeah, I looked through the Helldivers directory just for 2 seconds, and I was like half VTubers. I was like, damn. Bazat, sure, that'd be based. That'd be sick. Dude. I'm with Bazat. Bazat's with me. Something we'd actually drive along like the coast at one point too. That's I figured for sure, but I guess not. Mega ass shirt. This Warrior's huge ass, man. The wolf girl. Well, I mean, good for that guy. Alright, well, I'll be back soon anyway, so I'm gonna read a little bit more about some of this, some thoughts on this. Maybe watch a little review. So probably be a couple hours or something. This game had day one DLC, man. That's pretty hype. That's a aesthetics thing, but yeah. So I'll probably back a little bit, and then we'll stream for a few more hours at least. Or maybe I'll just chill. We'll see what happens. But I plan on playing some more stuff. We got a lot to get through, so. But it should be Yakuza. I started it. Kind of want to play Helldivers though. It's fine. Helldivers isn't going anywhere, so we'll probably do Yakuza. How's Yakuza? I only put like 7 hours into it so far. It's Yakuza. I mean, my brother got it. I just happened to be family shared. So I'm gonna play it that way. But the fortunate turn of events. But yeah, I mean, Yakuza's been fine. It's the same. I have the same problems with the combat as I did in the first game, but I've barely had any combat. I've probably been in like 4 or 5 fights or something. Mostly cutscenes. I've enjoyed the writing on the smaller, more character-driven shit. we're getting into some of the conspiracy stuff, and I'm about to finally go to Hawaii, like 7 hours in, I think. So we'll see where it goes. I went through like 1 dungeon or 2 dungeons. It's the same shit as usual. It's like a dragon. Just pretend that was an audible belch. That's my answer. But yeah, it's been cool. I mean, I think it'll be solid. I will see how the mini games are. I did spend like 2 hours playing one of the arcade games. So. Yeah, I like Yakuza, dude. I wonder why they rebranded it in the West. I mean, I guess because you're really not a Yakuza person very often. I mean, you're still dealing with the Yakuza even in this game. Yeah, I'm really hoping you get a lot of that fun kind of like commentary on like the different cultures and stuff. And since it's gonna be set in Hawaii, maybe be a bunch of American jokes and shit, right? It's fun poking fun at like goofy American shit. It'd be nice to be in a different location and seeing where things go too. Yeah, it's kind of how I've always felt about it. As Yakuza's doesn't really have a lot of depth outside of like its cutscene work and stuff like that. It's more about being wide and varied and having a more than acceptable amount of depth within each of those little things. So when they're not, they don't have a whole lot of depth. It's kind of nice when you don't have to spend too much time with each of them. You just keep jumping to the next different activity. And so the thing with turn-based combat is like it takes a little longer. And when Yakuza combat's kind of like, it's not great turn-based combat. It's like, I don't want to spend longer on it. Like, it's like the beat 'em up combat in Yakuza's not very good, but it's like, you don't spend much time with it. So it's not a big deal. It's like Zelda. It's like, you wouldn't play an entire game where you just beat people up with Zelda combat for like 15 hours or something, right? But like, it's totally fine over a whole journey. In fact, it's probably preferred over something with way too much depth, because then, arenas have to be made around it and abilities and stuff. So. I mean, I don't think the combat's like dog shit. Like, there's positioning and combos and job stuff, but I don't like the enemies walking around when you're supposed to be setting up like combos that require like spacing or being able to push them into other people or something like that. Or you'll have like an attack that shoots fire and it'll hit everything in the way, and then the enemies just kind of like randomly move around. And there's a bit of like active time stuff, like blocks, like a Paper Mario type of thing, and attacking guys really quickly before they get up off the ground. And so that kind of stuff's cool. And like where you stand to pick up items and shit. I don't think it's like bad combat, but I played a lot of turn-based games. I got a lot of good turn-based games to play, so I'm just kind of like, not what I'm into Yakuza for. In the first place, so for it to take more time and then still be kind of okay is like, not super pumped for that. But I mean, it's not been like fucked or anything. It just feels like the same. I don't know. It's probably upgraded over 7's turn-based combat, but I couldn't tell you. It feels like the same shit. Yeah, I mean, people love it. It's supposed to be awesome. I mean, I've liked it so far. I have no problem. I like Yakuza quite a bit. I just have Yakuza fatigue. I've just played a bazillion Yakuza games, so this one seems to be mixing it up the most out of any of them in a while. So I'm looking forward to getting into more areas and shit. But yeah, so maybe we'll do some Yakuza to kind of get back into it. Maybe I'll pepper some Helldivers in, but kind of want to get Yakuza done before Final Fantasy, so maybe Helldivers will be more after FF or peppered in there, because I know I'm going to grind it on it. Anyways, guys, I'm going to take that break. Like I said, it might be an hour, it might be 2 hours. I might just be back after work tomorrow. But I appreciate you guys watching on this one. No, wasn't as much conversation. It's a game you're very focused on the gun. I'm paying a lot of attention to everything. So I myself kind of like all hands on deck on it. But It was cool. It was neat to play something kind of day one too. Probably a few people who finished it with many hours. I'm actually curious how many people actually finished this game. Let me see the achievement list so far. Return from the well with Tobias' favorite cryptid equipped, 5%. Return from the well, 7%. About 7% of people. That's pretty good for something that's not been out super long. I think I also put in like a good 10 to 15 hours more than a lot of people. I've seen people finish it with like 20 something. So that's the thing, is you could just bust through this. I mean, there's some things you could use, but yeah, you missed a couple hours of bug. It's over. I mean, FF Saturday morning going hard. Yeah. I'm just gonna wait for. I gotta wait for GameFly to send it to me. And you know that's gonna be. There's gonna be shit. They're gonna send it on what, the 28th or something, like Wednesday. Maybe if I'm lucky, tomorrow. And then it's gonna like not come in for the entire weekend. So it's fine. I got Yakuza. It's just that it's gonna be a lot of spoilers. I'm already expecting to get spoiled by the ending of it. Just places I go to browse, just it'll be there. I just want to experience the Goofy Nomura as best I can, but we'll see. Oh, discovered 600 logbook entries, 1.5% of people. That's more the kind of playthrough I guess I had there. There's a lot of achievements still to get, man. What did I miss? Tifus, yeah. That's okay though. Discover your remnant ghost and retrieve any lost items or equipment at hell. Oh, that's if you die, probably, huh? I wonder I never fucking saw one. But you needed that to unlock the time thing. For the plot, yeah. Definitely a lot of plot. Unlock everything in the fabrication station. 1.1%. The second most rare. 0.9%. Completed run with 3 junctions without any panels, doors, or bumpers. I mean, you could do that easily. People just don't care how still you can be. It's because I'm in the recliner, but reading. And it's dark and there's no sound. Just still as hell. Thing is, my camera has frozen quite a bit in the past. So.